So in this video, we're going to talk about how to describe and simplify single variable polynomials. So when we're looking at an algebraic expression, remember the terms we have for the parts of an expression. The coefficient is the number that's multiplying the variable term. The exponent is the superscript that tells you how many times that variable is being multiplied by itself. And remember, if we have a term without a variable in it, that is called a constant term. So when you're simplifying polynomial expressions, you can simplify them by combining like terms. So when you combine like terms, what you do is you combine terms that have the same variables raised to the exact same exponents. And what you can do is combine the terms by putting together their coefficients. So for example, if we have 4x squared y cubed minus 3x squared y cubed, notice that I have the same variables and the same exponents, right? So this x has a square on it, and both of these y's have a cube power on it, right? So we can go ahead and combine this. We can by combining the coefficients. So we can do 4 minus 3, which gives us 1. So we have 1x squared y cubed. Okay, in the process of combining, the variables actually don't change. We just combine the coefficients. So 1x squared y cubed, remember we usually don't write that coefficient of 1, so we can just write this as x squared y cubed. On the other hand, if we're trying to combine 5x squared y plus 2xy, we cannot combine them, okay, because the exponents on x are actually different. So we're just going to leave these two terms separated by that plus sign, okay? We actually cannot combine them, so we just have to leave it like that. So also what you can do is you can evaluate polynomials if you're given a specific value for the variables. All you have to do is plug in and then use order of operations to simplify. So for example, if we're trying to evaluate 4x squared y cubed for x equals 2 and y equals negative 5, I'm going to use this 2 to replace x. So I'm going to have 4 times 2 squared, and then I'm going to use this negative 5 to replace y, and I have negative 5 to the third. So what I need to do now is use order of operations to simplify. Remember that order of operations tells us that we do the exponents first. So we do 2 squared, which is 4, and then we do negative 5 cubed, which is negative 125. Okay, so we have 4 times negative 125 now. So when we do that, we have 16 times negative 125, which gives us negative 2,000. Okay, and that's how we evaluate this given specific values for our variables. So now let's try identifying the exponent and coefficient of negative 3x to the fifth. So here we have negative 3x to the fifth. So remember that this value that's in front, that negative 3, is equal to the coefficient. And when we have that fifth power, right, so this 5 right here, that's our superscript, that is the value of the exponent. So now let's try this problem. It says to simplify the polynomial and then evaluate for x equals negative 3. So there's two parts to this problem. The first part is to simplify. And remember, we do that by combining like terms. So here I have a 4x squared. The only other x squared term I have is 6x squared. So I'm going to combine 4x squared plus 6x squared. And so that's going to give me 10x squared. And then I have plus 3x, right? So there's no other x term. So I'm just going to write plus 3x. And then I have two constant terms. I have a plus 5, and then I have a minus 2. Okay, whatever sign's in front of the term in the original problem stays with it, so that minus is going to stay with the 2. So remember, I have my plus 3x that didn't change, and then I have my 5 minus 2, so I have my plus 3. So this now simplifies to 10x squared plus 3x plus 3. Now we need to do the second part and plug in negative 3 for x. So that's going to give us 10 times negative 3 squared plus 3 times negative 3 plus 3. So whenever we're simplifying this, remember order of operations, right? So we do parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, and then add or subtract. So we're going to do 10 times negative 3 squared, which means we're going to do the square first. Remember, any number squared is going to be a positive number. Negative 3 squared is negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 9. And then plus, we have 3 times negative 3. So we're just going to leave that. There's no exponents there. And then plus 3. Now let's go do the multiplication. So we have 10 times 9, so that's 90. And then plus 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And then we have plus 3. So we have 90 plus negative 9 plus 3. And we just go from left to right, and that gives us 84. So that's our final answer. So now let's simplify this expression. So here, once again, we're simplifying, so that means combine like terms. So we have a 5x cubed. There's no other x cubed term, so we're just going to leave that. And then we have 4x squared. So we're going to combine that with this x squared, right? Remember, that's basically a 1x squared. And then also this minus 5x squared. When I'm doing this, I always go through and underline those terms so I can keep track of which ones I've gone ahead and combined. So when I have 4 plus 1, that's 5. 5 minus 5 is 0. So that's basically 0x squared. So that's just 0. Okay, and then I have minus 6x plus 2x. So let's go ahead and write that. Remember that sign in front of the 6x is going to stay with it. So minus 6x plus 2x, that's going to be plus negative 4x, right? Because minus 6 plus 2 is negative 4. And then I finally have this plus 7, but that doesn't have anything to combine with, so I'm just going to leave that as a plus 7. So now if I simplify this, I have 5x cubed minus 4x plus 7, and that is now the fully simplified form of this expression.